Hi, my name is Adam Soyama, and this is our bookshelf management API built with Node.js, Express, MongoDB, Passport for authentication, and Swagger for documentation. So if you check our code editor in our VS Code, you see that this was being built following the MVC pattern and well structured, as you can see our VS Code from the left hand part of it. So this application has been deployed on Render. When you click up on render here, this is our this thing on render. It tells you that for you to have details of it, you can visit health or api.doc. So we visit our api.docs and we see that this application, the endpoints are running live on render. So we followed the CRUD. We demonstrate in our Swagger documentation, our Swagger UI, we demonstrated CRUD for at least 4 collections. We actually made it 5. Except our health and authentication, we have our books collection, author collection, chef collection, member collection, and loans collection, which makes it actually 5 collections. You can also see below here our schemas too that were being used. So now, if you look at the right hand side of this application, of this Swagger UI, you're going to see that there are some places where we have where there are locks on it, showing that we must be authenticated for us to be able to access these areas of the application. We'll come back to this when I'm trying to explain the authentication of this application. But for now, let us see if this works. So we are going to try to check one part of it that does not have authentication. Let's go to auto and then get auto. We'll try this to see if we can get the whole authors that are there. And you see that yes, it brings out a list of all the authors that are there. If you think this application was built with my team member and he has the database on his compass, so if we check the compass, you're going to see that we have the same data being applied on our get compass as we did in our week 3 and week 4 assignment, uh, which was our project. So we can repeat the same procedure too for our put and delete and all that and all that and all that. So we can repeat the same procedure to put date and all that. So next, I would like to talk about error handling. Now, we will try to say, okay, let us try to check by ID, and then we put an ID that is not valid. We put an ID that is not valid. Let's say 345, and we try to execute that. We are going to see that it's going to pop up information, a code. It's going to pop up information for us error. Error status is 400. Response body error through invalid status ID, and it goes down below because the response that which shows us that we were able to execute something that handles error for this particular code. Then we are going to talk about our data validation. So we'll try to see if we were able to work on validating data from this UI. So we try to post a member with the missing field or requirement to see if we can validate that data. We come to member. We cannot actually post a member because we do not even have it shows this logs, which shows that I have to log in for me to be able to do it. But let me try to see if we can validate that member. We try to post this member and we'll press on execute. And then this is the next statement is telling us error status 404 response body unauthorized, showing us our authentication. But I'm still going to authenticate this one and then try to show about the data validation. So now on the authentication part of it, how do I get to authenticate this part? We see that we worked on authentication for this particular application, and we did it using we did it we did the authentication using this endpoint. So to authenticate for it, we are going to do render.com dot auth dot login. So this is going to redirect us to our GitHub. And then if it redirects me to my GitHub now, this is my GitHub. Once I click on it, it's supposed to redirect me back to my application. So GitHub is redirecting me back to my application. This is going to show me if I've been authenticated or not. So this now shows that I've been able to log in now into it. So we used our GitHub authentication to redirect us back to our GitHub authentication. And once it is approved, it calls us back to our API login, and then it shows authentication, returning back to our profile. So for us to do that again, we try to show protected root example books, and let's see if this protected root like books, if it works, if our authentication was actually, if I was given access for that authentication. So let me see let me see post books. So let us try to see if we can post books on this, and then we try to execute this. Password authentication tools. Error 402 forbidden admin only. So it shows that I am not being authenticated as the admin of this particular group. So I was authenticated as a guest or as a member. So it's only the admins that will be able to do this for us. So also to well, let us see if we can actually go back to auto and see if we can validate our data by posting something, by checking something with the by getting something with the unrequired code, something with the wrong listing. We use 234 to try to get it. And at the end of the day, you see we are still getting it. Makes it invalid auto ID. So this invalid auto ID actually shows us our data validation that we used it to validate our data. So lastly, before we end this video, I'm going to be talking about our testing. To show if you actually tested this app, we are going to go back to our code editor to check if we tested this app. So while on this code editor, I actually did the npm run test to see that if you check here, we have our test here for each of these memberships. So when we run our npm test, we had this information showing that we passed our chef, our book, our data. There were 15, there were five test suites that were passed in total, and these five were 11 test suite passed. There was no snapshot of zero, and the time was 50, 50.716. So in summary, this actually application that was built by my teammate and I, Olakunle, and Olakunle actually handled the database management, the database creation. He created three out of the two API endpoints. I created two out of the three CRUD API endpoints. I implemented members and loan CRUD and Swagger documentations, and then I also handled the authentications for all of for all of them. I handled the authentication and authorization. So in summary, we're able to meet up this, we're able to deploy this on render, we're able to have we're able to use a crude way to put it all on Swagger, and then we handle the errors, data validation, we did authentication, and we put it on Swagger. We also handled unit tests, and we all contributed to this project. Thank you very much. Also, we are going to be looking at it that this project was actually it has been it has been put on our GitHub. This is our GitHub main, so you can actually follow the link to our GitHub to see that this project is live on our GitHub for you to see the raw code and also have access to it. Thank you very much.